Welcome to the Lighthounds Podcast, where we chew the cud with houndsmen from all across the world. We are brought to you by High Point Pet Food out of Shawnee, Oklahoma. CH Lone Star Promo for all your promotional needs. Red River Hunting Supply off Highway 82 in Whitesboro, Texas. And the best in dog protection, Southern Cross Cut Gear.
All right, everybody. We're back with another episode of Don't Run with Lighthounds. We got Mr. Joel Barter out of British Columbia. Hey, buddy, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about where you're at and kind of what's going on over there?
Yeah, so like you said, I'm up here in BC. I guess as far as the dogs go, I've been doing this for about 10 years now, about eight years or so with my own dogs. And then I hunted a couple of years with a buddy and his dogs that kind of got me hooked on the game. So yeah, running bears and cats up here, lions, bobcat, lynx, and yeah, that's about it.
We got the boats coming in hot, boy.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's too cool. Oh, so where you're at, your location, do you mainly hunting big public ground? Like tell us about is it wilderness or how it's sanctioned, and then kind of tell us about the rules and regulations on the different stuff.
Yeah, so BC is an interesting place. On one hand, it's super nice. Like our availability to hunt here, our regulations, there's so much opportunity for all the different game. Like as far as seasons go, when you combine the bear and the cat seasons, like I can run the dogs for 10 months of the year, right? The only 2 months that I can't chase something is July and August. And I think there's actually a bear season in August. I could be wrong, but you can run them on private land, I believe, in some areas. But yeah, basically from September 1st to June 30th, you're good to go for something around here. So basically cat season starts November 15th. I guess it's kind of split. Like where I live here on the coast, I live just outside of Vancouver on the southern coast here. But I do most of my hunting in the interior. So I got to drive like 3 or 4 hours to get into the interior. It's just super nasty to run dogs on the coast. Like the terrain is just inexplicably disgusting around here. The mountains are so steep and the undergrowth is just horrible to deal with. But technically you can start running cats and bears here September 1st. So we do a bit of that in the fall, and then kind of full-blown cat season starts the middle of November up in the interior. That runs until March 30th. And then the next day, our hunting season starts April 1st for the year, right? So March 30th, cat season ends. April 1st is opening day of bear season, and then you got that until June 30th.
And that's awesome.
It's pretty wild. So there's go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying it's rare that you meet somebody or like, live in a spot. I mean, for us down here, we can run hogs 24/7 for the most part.
Right.
But to be able to run different game, basically, 10 months out of the year, I feel like it's pretty rare for most of us.
Well, yeah, and it's just too hot in the summertime usually to run dogs anyway. Sometimes even the tail end of bear season, we got to kind of cut it short if we have a hot spring or something like that. But, I talk to guys here and there that either just run cats, if they live in a state where you can't run bears or vice versa, something like that. It's like, I don't know how guys keep dogs if they can't run them all year, man.
Yeah, it's a struggle for me with my deer tracking dogs because it's 3 months, man. So it's that unless you can. My dog, my specific main dog, doesn't really. He's not one to just go for a run. We're not. I live on 15 acres, and he can kind of do whatever he wants. But he's, we go. I try to road him. He just looks at me like I'm retarded. Like he doesn't.
I got one of those.
For it. Yeah. So October 1st or September 30th, whatever it is, that whenever deer season starts, boy, it's like, and it's usually wheels off the grid like immediately. Like the opening day is archery, and then it is full tilt for that first 2 weeks. Like it's for down here, most of most of your whitetail are kind of on their summer pattern still that first week or two of deer season. So like a lot of big deer and a lot of, and of course it's archery only. So, there's a lot of guys that are dying to get in the woods that opening week. And of course it's the hottest, we're the least in shape. The weather's the shitty, like it's terrible conditions to start. And it's like, every year I'm like, I can't wait for October, but I also dread that first couple weeks because poor dogs just dragging ass, So
Stepping right into the fire.
yeah, it's not like you don't get to just warm up to nothing. It's right after it, and for us, it's September 30th, hell, November 1st. It's a lot of days are 85 degrees, and you're getting maybe 65, 70 at night, kind of depending on the scenario. But it's, our good weather for tracking and stuff doesn't normally get here till November, and, December is great. But, it's
the nice part about up here is like our general hunting season, basically province-wide. There's pockets of different things that open up at different times, but the general season for mostly everything kicks off. Basically, September 1st is we get a 9-day archery season, and then rifle kicks off for everything else. So basically, September 1st, most things open up. And I don't do a ton of bear hunting in the fall because I'm pretty hardcore into everything. Like we've got so much opportunity up here. For so many different species. So I don't do a lot of fall bear hunting, but it is nice because I kind of got to cart the dogs around me wherever I go. Sometimes I'll go on a trip and the wife will take care of them at home, but a lot of the times my wife's just coming with me. So we're usually bringing the dogs around. So if we go deer hunting or something like that, we usually run a few bears in the fall season. So it's kind of like a nice warm up before the cats come. I'm not out there looking to tree a whole bunch of bears in the fall, but it's a nice activity. If you're hunting slow, we'll go run a bear, get the dogs stretched out, and kind of get them back in shape for November when we really like to go hard for cat season.
Will those bears be pretty much hibernating by then, or?
Yeah, depending on the winter. I mean, we do cut bear tracks. Like I've cut bear tracks all through the winter, but typically by the time November comes, you're not really seeing bears anymore.
I mean, do they do a true hibernation up there?
No, definitely not. Like, you don't really come across them, but like I said, like we cut at least one or two bear tracks usually every year in the wintertime, just trudging through the snow.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you're not picking them up with the dogs. Like I've never gone on a bear race in the snow yet with the dogs. So like they're definitely denned up, but they will get out and poke around, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Do you have any like brown and grizzly bears around you or no?
Not close to where I live, but in some of the areas I hunt, they are around. I haven't got myself roped into a grizzly race yet. They're typically more in the eastern part of the province, and then way up north there's a ton of them. But man, they shut down our grizzly hunting, I guess, close to 10 years ago. We used to be able to put in for a draw and hunt grizzlies, and they shut that down, and the population's just exploding now. So they're definitely moving into new places and stuff like that. So I'm sure they'll be all over the place in no time. But the areas that the grizzlies do hang out in are just flooded with them now. Like we get so many bear attacks every year.
Yeah, genius conservation.
Yeah, the liberals. Fuck, man.
So tell me about that. So like, I mean, obviously you still get to run dogs and stuff, but like are you being attacked kind of like we are down here? Like it seems like every few months we've got another bill in some state or some or for everybody, kind of attacking our rights. Is that kind of something that's happening to y'all up there, or?
Yeah, it does. It seems to come in waves. There was one a few years ago where they tried to shut down basically all hunting with dogs, all cat hunting. I believe bear hunting was roped into that. It was basically like all dog hunting, and they basically tried to go for most of the predators that are left that we're able to hunt. And I think it was just kind of normally when stuff gets challenged up here, because especially in BC, it's a liberal government in BC, our provincial government's liberal. And then it's like most places, right? Like in Vancouver, you've got the whole city of Vancouver doing the voting for the whole province. Like I think there's something like 4 million people in BC, and like 3 million of them live in Vancouver, right? So the voting base is deciding these things for everybody. And usually when stuff like that comes up and it gets traction, it just passes, and it's almost like there's no point in even trying to fight it. But miraculously, I think they just tried to bite off more than they could chew with that one. And when you try and go after like all cat hunting, all bear hunting, the outfitters get involved, and a bunch of people got pissed off about it. So we were able to bat that one down. But unfortunately, I think if they start going for smaller pieces at a time, they might be able to whittle away at it. But on the other hand, like hunting in BC almost flies under the radar a little bit. So it's kind of like a gift and a curse. It's like we don't have a big population of hunters that will step up and fight for it. But it's also sometimes quiet enough that people sometimes it just kind of, like I said, slips under the radar a bit.
Yeah,
we don't have a huge community of houndsmen in BC. It's more than I would have guessed before I got into this. Like before I got my dogs, I thought hound hunting was an old school thing. I thought it was like something that people did in the States, and then something that people did like hundreds of years ago up here. And then once I got into it, I realized there are a lot more houndsmen in this province than I realized, but it's still not. Like if I had to throw a guess out there, I'd say there's maybe several hundred houndsmen in the entire province, and it's a huge, huge expanse of land, right?
Yeah. So who did you see first with like hounds? Did you run into somebody, or what was your first like experience with dogs and running bears and lions?
Yeah, so I worked with a dude for a few years, kind of off and on. We worked for a few different companies together, and he would always tell me stories about his brother-in-law that had hounds. He lived on Vancouver Island, which was actually where I grew up, and so I knew he had hunted with him a few times, and we kind of kept in contact over the years. And I was bullshitting with him one day. We were kind of trying to put together a mule deer hunt together, and he had moved to the interior of BC at that point and got his own dogs. He had 2 or 3 at the time. Kind of mule deer season was winding down, and he was like, "Well, why don't you come up here for a cat hunt?" And I had never in my wildest dreams even imagined that I would get an opportunity to go, hunt lions with dogs. It was just not something that I even factored in. And I was like, literally, dude, you tell me when and where, and I will be there. Like, this is not an opportunity that I'm going to miss. I was just so fascinated by it. And so we picked a weekend, and I drove up there, and kind of the curse for me in the beginning was shitty conditions. We went up there, and I don't think it had snowed in like 5 days. There was snow on the ground. It was a pretty heavy snow year, but it was just like ice, right? Just 2-foot snow banks that were just crusted ice. And we didn't even have to go hunting, man. I swear, I walked in his garage and I saw his dogs kenneled up there, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." Just watching the dogs. And we loaded up the next day and went out hunting, and we cut a lion track that was like a fossilized artifact in this ice. I don't know how old it was, but we were a long ways behind that cat. And he let his lead dog out, and I just saw that dog cock back and let out a huge bawl, and I was like, "Buddy, this is my new shit. Like I need to do this." And it wasn't even easy after that. I went up there basically every weekend I could, and I remember we hunted 22 days together before we ever treated a cat. And the first one we caught was a little kitten.
Yeah.
So we definitely had to work for it, but I was just hooked.
So was his dogs, were they like finish type dogs when you went with them, or was he kind of getting started too?
He was kind of getting started, but he got pretty lucky. He was kind of working with a buddy, and a buddy lent him a finished female, and he had bought a pup off this guy, and the pup was, I guess he wasn't a pup. I think he was about a year old when he got him, but I think it was a dog that was kind of just sitting on a chain more or less, right? And he picked up this dog, and then buddy lent him a finished female for a little bit, and So the pup's name was Judge, and dog actually turned out to be kind of a legendary dog in our little friend community here. But he took this dog out with the Finnish female, put him on a lion, and they went and treated it. And then he gave the female back, and he was out driving around next time with his girlfriend and cut a lion track and put Judge out on it. And he just went and treated it, and he basically just never missed after that. And he was just one of those dogs, with like a 1 in 100 lifetime type dogs. He just had it. Picked it up the first time, and that dog was just a legend, man. Like he trees lions, bobcats, lynx, bears, you name it. If he'll climb a tree, he'll put it up there and keep it there. He's just an absolute psychopath.
We got some buddies that have landed on that gold mine.
Yeah, no,
it's pretty wild to have a first dog just do
it. Yeah, no, he's a special dog for sure. I actually kind of due to circumstances a few years ago, my buddy Bruce there, he decided to hang up the leashes and got rid of all his dogs, and he approached me and asked if I wanted to buy him, and I wasn't really in a position to make it happen at the time, so I passed on him, and he ended up selling him to a big outfitter up here. And then I think a year after that, that outfitter went through some hard times. He had a bunch of wildfires around his place in Alberta there, and he ended up having to get rid of a bunch of dogs real quick. And he asked me if I wanted to buy him, and I wasn't going to turn it up twice. So I ended up buying that dog off him, and I ran him for 2.5 years, 2.5, 3 years or so. And then he's starting to get up there in age now, and he ended up getting attacked by bears a couple years in a row and almost getting himself killed. So it's kind of like he's kind of slowing down. He's losing it a little bit. Talked to Bruce, and I was just like, hey, listen, like, he's starting to slow down. He's not quite ready to retire, but Bruce is guiding for lynx up north. I was like, listen, man, if you want to run him on lynx and use him guiding and stuff like that, just kind of semi-retire him, I was like, I'll just give him back to you. I know he's special to you, and I think it felt like the right thing to do. So I just gave him back to him last year.
Yeah, that's cool. It's real cool.
Yeah, it was a real pleasure to have him for a few years. Like, that dog, I know he means a lot to Bruce. It's his first dog, and he's kind of a legend to him. And he was the dog that got me, excuse me, he was the dog that got me hooked on it. So I got to own him for a few years and spend time with him. And like I said, yeah, it just felt like the right thing to do, just to send him back.
That's cool. So tell us about the breed and kind of what y'all are running.
Yeah, I like a real houndy dog. It was one of the things that really drew me to the dogs. Was just Judge he's a night trained black and tan cross Walker. I don't know what the Walker bloodline was, but he was a big block headed, looked like a Peterbilt, high tan, and I just got addicted to that style of dog right away. So I got a preference to the black and tan dogs. I got really obsessed with the Duncan line. Honestly, man, I picked all my dogs based on how they look. I don't really do too much research on them. I like a good looking dog. I know a lot of guys run whatever hunts the hardest or whatever style they like and whatever build they like. I've picked all my dogs just based on what looks good to me, and I've had pretty good luck with that. So I think I'll probably keep doing that going forward. But yeah, I got four black and tans. They're all crosses except for one's a full blood Duncan right from Calvin and Ken there. That's kind of what I like. I like a big dog. I like all males. We do have one blue tick in the house. It's my wife's dog. She came with her, messing up my color scheme. But she doesn't really hunt anymore. We tried her for a few years, but she was a ranch dog on my wife's property before we got together, and she kind of picked it up a little bit, and then got to a point where every time we let her out of the truck, she finds a highway to run down. So she's kind of put on the bench now. So yeah, I got 4 dogs that work. Like I said, they're all black dogs and some sort of a cross with either blue tick or red tick or Walker. Running the conditions that we have up here, I do like a bigger dog. Ideally not too heavy. I got this one pup right now, Gator. He's 2. He's real tall, real lanky, just a big torpedo, and that's kind of what I like to see. We have some years where the snow gets real deep, and if you got a short short dog, they don't tend to do that well. And then the other thing we battle is just an immense amount of deadfall up here. Big timber, big trees, and just lots of windstorms pushing those trees over. So when you get in the box of matchsticks, I think it's good to have a nice, tall, lanky dog that can kind of maneuver through that stuff. I guess the alternative would be a real small dog, but then they don't pan out very well in the winter conditions.
Yeah. When you say big dog, tell them what you mean, because I asked you about one the other day and you told me how big it was, and I was like, I don't
yeah. Bruce Banner, the house horse. He's I got one dog. He was one of the first pups that I got. He's cat season. He runs about 90 pounds.
Freaking huge, man.
Yeah,
I've got a buddy that runs big dogs like that, and I just every time I see him, I'm like, how in the hell do they even get around? But god dang, they do, and it's kind of impressive.
Man, he might get to the tree a little late, but he always gets there. And I tell you what, that dog can run day after day after day. Like, he doesn't quit. He's got feet on him the size of snowshoes, but he makes it around, man. You'd swear he's part bloodhound if you look at him. He's just got a buck skull on him.
I could see where some big old pads would pay off in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, he's a good dog. I call him Mr. Average, because he's not particularly great at anything, but he doesn't suck at anything either. He's just Mr. Reliable. Like, he's never going to blow your socks off, but he's also never going to let you down.
I'll take a handful of them. Shit.
Right?
Oh man. Well, you were talking about looks, and I've had a couple dogs that looked good recently, and none of them worth a shit. And I was like, they probably would have got rid of them a lot sooner if they didn't look the way they did.
Right.
And you know, and inevitably I've gotten rid of them, but it is sure hard to look at one that fits your kind of bill. I mean, I just got rid of one, and he wasn't really my style, but he looked good for whatever style he was. And anyways, I held him for a while and tried him on deer and pigs, and then he just never gonna be like he's never gonna do it himself. Like, we'd go and he'd be at the bays, and he tracked some deer this year, and but just never really did it. Like, he'd do the easy stuff, and then he'd be at he'd me too to the hog bays and stuff, and I was just like, man, I don't have time for that. I have a couple buddies at work are like, what do you so like, what now? And I was like, I'll give them away, or call them, and they're like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, well, I just don't have a place for a Me Too type dog when I could potentially get a puppy and it'd be and fill that spot. I don't have just a ton of room in my kennels. I'll probably eventually have more, but at the moment, I've got enough to house 8 dogs, and it's just taking up a spot, and I may or may not have a little breeding coming along, and I'm like, this is a good time. We gave him almost 3 years, and that was it. So
yeah, that's enough for sure. I will say this is my ugliest dog is the highest performer, and I don't know if that's based on him being nervous that he doesn't look good enough to stick around, but he's the smallest dog, and he's definitely the leader of the pack, and he's an absolute menace out there. My wife calls him the uglies.
I can dig it. I don't blame you one bit. I've got a little chick right now, but she doesn't really. I know she's bred right, and I know where she come from. Like, everything's right, but she don't really look. I mean, she's pretty for what she is, but just not really much. I mean, it wouldn't be like, I wouldn't pick her out of a litter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm hoping. I think she's got it. She's a dog that I started her on the deer tracking this year, and she's 1 year old and was kind of doing some stuff that I was kind of impressed by. And I'm like, no, you're not the greatest looking dog on the planet, but I'm due for an ugly dog that fucking does it. So I'm praying she's the one.
So the deer dogs, I'm assuming that's all they do is track deer?
Yeah, track winded deer. So like in Texas, you can't run like in Alabama and out in the southeast. You can just run wild deer and that are not wounded, and you can do that. In Texas you can only track wounded deer. So
Right.
my deer dogs are specifically for deer because we run pigs are rampant, as I'm sure you're aware. We run over pigs almost every deer track. So I'm pretty hard about not letting them even look at a pig. From an early age, I'll try to break them off that pretty quick. And then there are guys that will shoot pigs and train on pigs and then run deer and then haven't had bad problems with it. To me, it just don't make. I don't know. I don't even want to open up that revenue because we see them every damn track. Last thing I need to do is go chasing a pig, and not to say that I haven't. I've been on deer tracks and had my dogs bay a pig before. And you look kind of like a dumbass whenever you're always got them bayed, and it's a big buck. And one time they got a 200-pound boar bayed up in the creek, and you feel like a dumbass.
Oh
yeah. So I try to specifically keep them on deer if that's the route. Now that being said, I've got a little Flockhound cross dog that I ran last year on deer, and now she's a straight up hog dog. And it was just she kind of showed me that she didn't care about dead animals, so I put her on live animals, on pigs. That's what we can run down here, and she's all about that. And this year I can't, like last year I had problems with her trashing on deer because I started her on deer. Now I put her on pigs, and I'm expecting her not to. I knew she was going to run deer. I mean, it just is what it is. And but this year, I can't count one time that she's crashed on deer, and she's 3 years old now, and she kind of told me what she wanted to do. You know what I mean? She showed me what she wanted, and here we are. And I mean, she's not like some lights out hog dog, but she'll do good for me for now. Until I raise my I got pretty high expectations with my deer tracking dogs because that's what I've been doing longest, and I get paid to do it, and it's to me is a pretty high line to be tote, and the pig dog deal is for fun for me. So even the little half-ass shit dog for me is fun right now. I'm sure that'll change at some point, but for now I'm just enjoying it. Yeah,
it's interesting how some dogs will, like you say, they'll tell you what game they want to chase or run. It's interesting. Before I really had a grip on this game up here, I did a bunch of reading and research and talking to people and all that stuff, and I would come across guys that would have different packs of dogs for cats and bears, and some of these dogs just wouldn't run cats or just wouldn't run bears, and it was always I was like, damn, like I don't know if I could keep a dog that wouldn't run one or the other, just because I'm super limited what I can keep here. I've got a small half a duplex. We got me and the wife and the kids and 5 dogs and 1,100 square feet, and basically no yard, right? So it's a little crammed right now. So it's just like if you can't do it both, then not a lot of tolerance for that. But I've been really lucky. All the dogs that I've got have done pretty well on both. I mean, they're coming along nice with the cats now. They're finished out real nice with the lions. We're still kind of learning with the bobcats and the lynx. We had a really good year last year with the small cats, and then this past season we didn't even get one, which was interesting, and it wasn't for lack of trying, but kind of had to take a step back. We ran quite a few bobcats and lynx at the beginning of the season, which we like to run the lynx when the snow's shallow, so they don't have the advantage with their big feet. But it just got to a point where we went on so many runs, and they hammer on the track and they're ripping, and then just nothing would ever tree, or we weren't finding the trees, not locating properly, and it just got to the point where I was like, all right, we just need to get back and to what we're good at and tree a few lions here. And then we tried to pepper some bobcats and lynx tracks in there throughout the season, but they didn't do too good this year. I don't really know what was going on with that.
Wow. That was kind of like my next question was, you're running multiple stuff. So like are you only dropping dogs on a track that you cut, or do you free cast dogs and kind of road them or something like that? How does that work for you?
Yeah, in cat season, we're just finding tracks. Um, we don't typically have any issue finding tracks. Like there's so many cats up here, man. Whether it's if you're not picky about what you're running, like if you're going for a big tom, you can drive around for a long time and not find a cat to run. If you're being picky, it can take a little bit. But if you're just looking for a cat to run, I mean, typically if we've got fresh snow on the ground, it doesn't take us too long to dig up a track. Usually by sunrise, we've got 2, 3 tracks we can kind of pick and choose if we want to go after a bobcat or go after a lion. You're not having to work too hard to dig up something to run. And then in bear season, um, my dogs seem to figure out in about the first 2 or 3 days of bear season. Usually after the first good strike from the box, they figure out again that when they bark, I let them out of the truck, and then they just start striking on every corner, every crease ahead. And there's a lot of yelling and a lot of button pushing, and then it gets to the point where I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but these dogs are so high strung. Like I pretty much just end up roading 1 or 2 dogs at a time and leave the other 2 or 3 in the box, just so I'm kind of, if someone's striking in the box and there's one out on the road, then it's time to press the button, right? So pretty much resort to roading at least one dog or all of them, depending on how long the day's going to be for bears. But yeah, I just kind of play it by ear with how the day's going. But yeah, I haven't really been able to master the strike dog yet.
I gotcha. So, do you have a certain dog that you will specifically put down on the road, or could all of them do it, and it's just kind of whatever you put down, or what's your plan when you do that?
Just my young pup Gator. He's the only one that. Well, actually, you know what? Up until this point, I didn't really trust him to start a track because it's really only his second real bear season that we're just kicking off here. But I kind of did an experiment last weekend when we were out, and I was like, usually I've got the same dogs on each side of the box. So I usually just, road this side of the box or road that side of the box and let the other dogs take a break. But I switched it up and I put Gator out with Big Banner there because they don't usually run together unless they're on a track. Like I usually don't road them together because they're on opposite sides of the box. But Banner's a pretty calm dog. Like he's not super mouthy when he's out on the road. So I was like, let's kick Gator out with Banner and see if he is able to kind of sort out or start a track and see what happens. And it honestly wasn't 5 minutes. We come around the next corner and there's a grassy patch and Gator's tail starts doing the old windmill there. And he took off and Banner came in there with him and lit up right away. And yeah, they went and treated bear. So he did that a couple times last weekend. So it seems like most of the dogs are pretty capable of starting a track on the road now. But once you get them all in the box, it only takes, so long before they start getting excited and start cocking off in there. So
how do you know whenever, like, how far does a dog have to get off the road when you know that it's like a decent track? Like when you feel like pretty confident, like a 20 feet, 100 yards, 2 miles, like what do you like? Okay, I mean, we're on a good track here.
Dude, I get way too excited. As soon as those dogs blow off and take off into the timber, I don't know. They usually don't make it 100 yards before I'm dumping the rest of the box. I get pretty easily excited, but I mean, if it's not a good track, if it's too old or something like that, they'll just come back anyways, and I'll kick one out on the road again and keep going. But honestly, most of the time, most of them are out there on the road, and there's so many bears around here. We noticed last weekend, kind of when we were driving through in the morning, there's this meadow that a lot of bears like to come down and feed in, and they were just picking up tracks from the night before, and they sprint off 100 yards, 200 yards, try and work it out. But if they don't blow up and just absolutely take off screaming, then I know we're probably not going to catch it, and I'll usually just honk the horn and they'll come back to the road pretty quick, and we'll go find a fresher one. Like especially with bears, you're not fighting to find a good track to run. So if they don't get super excited within a couple 100 yards, I just call them back and we'll go find something better.
That's That's probably very similar to like some of these guys down here that have really high pig populations. Like
Yeah.
they want a dog that will do that and not go on a mile long track, and then you pass up several pigs because they're tracking trailing too hard. So like a lot of guys down here don't use straight up hounds. They'll use like a crossed up with a cur or Catahoula or something like that. Like so like when I'm out and I'll usually just road the dogs. We'll just drive through property. It could be gravel, it could be just a grass path or whatever. But like my dogs are not. I mean, if they go 200-300, I'm like, this is a good track for us. Like, it's hot enough that they're I don't know how long they're going to take it, but like a little 200 yard little track off. I'm not like, I don't get excited, but whenever they start doing the 300 to 400 yard mark, I'm like, all right, this is something we're probably going to jump more than likely. For me, more than likely, probably not going to get stopped, but we'll give it a good jump and run, and we'll try our asses off. But and that's something I'm learning with running the hog dogs. Because on the deer track, I put them on a specific damn track. It's a specific hoof. It's a specific deer at a specific location. It's way different than just casting around, roading around for any damn pig. You know what I mean? So
yes,
it's been a change of pace, big time for me, and I've really enjoyed it because it's it's just been the last couple of years I've been watching my own, trying my own dogs with it. So it's definitely interesting just to see the difference because for you're say you're doing a lion track, because you're putting them on a specific track and you expect them to follow that track till they find it or tree it or whatever. When you're casting dogs, it's like you don't even see the sign. You're just letting their nose tell you when to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's a little bit. Your lion track is like my deer track, and the bears are kind of like our pigs in my mind.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I always tell people that ask questions about it. They're like, "Oh, what's the difference between bears and lions or cats and stuff like that?" And like personally, I prefer cat hunting over the bear hunting. They're both fun. I love both of them for different reasons. But I always tell people like bear hunting with hounds is kind of like a bar fight. Like it's just anything goes, right? It's just a fucking wild scrap. And then cat hunting with the dogs is more like UFC. A little more technical, a little more planning, just a little more intricate. And I kind of I love getting up early and going out in the dark and cutting lion tracks and just the kind of the process behind it, right? I love being able to find a track and know what you're chasing, and being able to pick if you want to go after a big tom lion or if you want to target a lynx that day or whatever it might be. Whereas bears, like I say, it's just kick the dogs out and wait till they dig something up and then find out whatever you got when you get to the tree. But another thing too that I've kind of gone through in the last few years is kind of for the first, I don't know, 5-6 years that I had my dogs, I was just so wound up with trying to finish my first couple pups out. And it was just like, I bought my first, I guess I should say the first 2 dogs that I bought, I ended up getting them out of Montana. And it's kind of a long story, but I ended up getting a finished blue tick and one of that dog's pups from a guy in Montana. And the blue tick was a little bit older. I think he was 6 or 7 when I picked him up. And he was just a lion dog. That's all he would run. I did get him going on bears after about a year, and he ended up being an awesome bear dog too. But I got a couple pups after that, and it was just kind of like a race to finish out a couple dogs before old Ringo was too old to do it anymore. So it was just like hunting as much as I could, going out every day. I was going out, like after work, running bears on Wednesday nights and stuff like that. Me and a buddy would go out like every Wednesday and run bears after work. And it was just like this super stressful thing to try and get a couple pups finished before Ringo was too old. And he ended up passing away before I got any of my pups finished. And we kind of went through a dry spell where I thought they were kind of good enough to do it on their own. Like I figured I could get away without getting another finished dog to lead them. and we just tried to grind it out for a couple years on our own, and it ended up just being a really really frustrating process. Like, especially in bear season, we would go on, tons of runs throughout the spring. Like, I'm putting these dogs out on hundreds of runs every spring and treeing like 2 bears in 3 months, right? So I'm like, listen, you guys are going on all these runs and you're hammering out there, but nothing's ending up in a tree. So like, it gets to a point where you got to stop lying to yourself and realize, like, hey, these dogs aren't running bears all the time. Like, they're clearly chasing moose and deer some of the time. So I kind of went through this phase where I was going to actually stop running bears and just put them on cats, something that's a little more controllable, where I could see the tracks and check tracks at road crossings and stuff like that. But I guess the whole point of the story is, it was just like a long kind of 4 or 5 years of trying to get these dogs finished. And now that I've got to the place where all my pups kind of are finishing out and they're trustworthy and reliable, it's just kind of taken a lot of the stress away. When it comes to bear hunting, especially, like, I'm just out there to enjoy myself now, man. Like, if we catch a bear, great. If not, rode the dogs. As long as they come home tired, I'm happy. Like, if they go on a couple runs and they wear their legs out and they don't catch something, I don't really care. I know they're chasing bears now. They're all trash broken. We get, 1 or 2 a year where they might fuck around a little bit, but for the most part, they're doing real good. So it's just kind of just more stress-free now, and I don't really worry too much about catching stuff. We do pretty good, but it's just kind of, it's nice to take the stress off and not just be so focused on like getting this dog finished and hunting every day from dawn till dusk. And just the last couple of years have been a lot more enjoyable than they were when I was younger. And it's kind of like the blind leading the blind.
Yeah. Yep. You're basically telling my exact story. Like, when I first started, dude, it was so stressful. And I mean, like you said, like 4 or 5 years of just grinding, and luckily my good dog now, which is he's not going to be the good dog for long. He's getting old. It took 3 years for him to like really do it, and then he just got progressively better and better and better. But I ran through a couple dogs before him that found a deer here, found a deer there, and. But gosh damn it, you see guts on the ground and you don't find a deer at the end of it, you're left a dead deer in the wood that day. Like,
yeah,
for now, if I leave a gut shot deer in the woods now, it's because coyotes ran him green and ran him, 3 or 4 or 5 miles, and God knows what happened, So but at the time, it's like you're just a constant freaking struggle. Like, I'm talking lose sleep. Like, I'd lose sleep over it. I was just so damn, I wanted it so bad. And then, when it finally happened, boy, I was grinding. Like, I'm talking, I would take every single damn track. I didn't care what it was, when it was. Like, I'm fucking getting it. I'm proving this shit, and, and I did. And it was, it was good. But it was like, now I've reached this point where I'm like, like I said, I have super high expectations out of the deer dog, and because I know what he's capable of. And but now I'm trying to, ever since I've got him, he started showing out and doing his thing, and then ever since then, which it's been 7 years ago, I've been trying other dogs behind him, trying to train, trying to get one going, and I've had zero success. Because I probably suck, but it's been, but it's okay because I've got the crutch, I've got the guarantee in the box. Like, at the end of the day, like, it's all good. But that that day is coming to an end, and I don't know when. Hopefully I get a couple more years. But it's been relieving to go and run the pig dogs and know that it's kind of like your bear dogs. Like, if we go find one, we find one. Hell yeah. If we don't, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't lose sleep over it. I'm not gonna freaking shoot the dog because he didn't do what he did that day. Like, it's enjoyable to relax because I'm not trying to prove shit now. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't have anything to. I don't try to take measure with anybody. Like, I got shitty dogs, so they run pigs, and occasionally we catch 1 or 2 here and there. So
I think the nice part about it now is just like if we go out and we run a bear, we run a cat, and we don't catch it, I leave the mountain that day going, well, something happened that I'll never know what happened, but there's probably a logical reason why they didn't catch it. Whereas before, we just went out and we didn't catch shit ever, and you're just left there wondering, why the hell did we not catch again, right? It was just like, we just always don't catch, so what's the problem? Now, if we don't catch, I'm like, well, probably, I'm not going to know what happened, but there's probably a legitimate reason. Some days you just don't catch them, right?
To get to that point in your life is like a shit ton of struggle, but when you get to that point in your life where, like, like I said, same thing, if we don't find a deer now, it's like, well, the motherfucker can't be found. Like, I don't, whatever it is. Like, it's not because of the dog. It's just, it is what it is. Like, I have full faith in finding them. But to get from point A to that point B is crazy struggle. It was for me. But gosh damn, I'm glad I stuck it out and got to that point, because a lot of guys try and they give up in a year or two, and I don't blame them. It fucking sucks. There's nothing that, when you're trying to start new dogs, unless you just somehow buy a finished dog or end up with and get lucky and get you like a natural dog, like I call it natural dog, some dog that come out the womb and just does its job. Few and far between, right? Unless you get that dog, like, dude, you're not seeing progress. For me, it was just 2, 3, 4 years, and I think a lot of guys give up.
Yeah, it's like you when you're grinding like that, and you got a couple 2, 3, 3-year-old dogs out there, and you're just thinking they should be kicking, and you go spend the day on the mountain and you get your dick kicked in, and then you come home, you open up Instagram and you see some dude with 4 or 6 month old puppies that are just treeing hard on some cat or what, you know what I mean? Like, we all have those days where these guys post a video, they got all these, 7 month old puppies and they're all hammering, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing wrong here, right? I got a couple 3-year-old dogs that just can't put it together. And like I said, like kind of in my situation, they were, I think Banner and Boone were about 2 and 3 years old when Ringo died. So I just had it in my mind, like, they're so close. All we got to do is get a few consistent trees, and I think they'll pick it up. But we just didn't get those consistent trees, and it just turned into, if I still had a lead dog, it might have only taken another, one more bear season or one more cat season to finish them off. But because I lost that lead dog, it ended up taking like 2 more full years to finish them out.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, tell me about your first successful tree. What was it, and tell me about it.
Oh man, so like the first one with my own dogs.
Yeah, your own dogs. I don't give a shit about anybody else. Your dogs that you raised.
Yeah, well, the first successful tree I got was with Ringo, the finished dog that I bought. It was kind of funny. Went up to the interior, fresh snow, everything was killer. I had a buddy with me that was kind of thinking about getting into the game as well. And that pup that I bought, that was one of Ringo's pups, he was a real late starting dog. He didn't really start doing much until he was about a year old, but we had a nice fresh lion track going across the road and cuddled Ringo loose, and he goes off hammering down the mountain. We're watching on the GPS, and you could see him get to this road, and he hit the road and just went hell bent for leather down this road for like 300 yards, and then pulled up tree. And I'm like, looked at my buddy, I'm like, well, that's not good. Like, they don't typically just tree on the side of a road, from what I understand. And looking on the GPS, we didn't have like property boundaries, but it looked like he might have been it looked like he was on private. And I was like, I think we've got a cat treat on somebody's property right now. This isn't good. So we start ripping the truck down there, and there was a Y in the road with a cattle guard and a gate. And I was like, shit, like, he's for sure on somebody's property. I was like, we got to get this dog back. So I'm like, we're not going to bring any guns. I don't want somebody to walk up to us and have a gun looking like we're hunting on their property. So we left the rifle in the truck, and we go sprinting down there. We got about 400 yards down the road, and I was like, I could hear Ringo treeing, and I was like, shit, like, I actually think he's got this cat treat. It would be nice to bring Rebel, the pup, into the tree to see it. My buddy was like, well, do you want me to go back and grab him? I'm like, yeah, that'd be good. So he ran back to the truck, and I go down to this tree, and sure as shit, Ringo's got this lion treat, a nice big female, right on the side of the road. And that was the first adult cat that I had ever seen in real life. So it was kind of like my first tree with my own dog was kind of the first lion that I'd ever seen other than a kitten. And I just stood there watching this dog. It was real low in the tree. It was only about 10 or 15 feet up. And I just sat there watching that cat in the tree, just mesmerized. I was like, this is the best day of my life. And no sooner did I think that, and a side-by-side came ripping up this trail, just blasting music as loud as they possibly could. They saw me standing there, and they stop with the music just pounding, and Ringo comes running over, and the cat jumps out of the tree, gone out of our lives forever. Yeah. We treated like right on the snow line, like there was snow where we were, but right as you went over the hill, there was no more snow, and I just didn't have the experience to take the dog down on dry ground. And I still thought we were on somebody's property, so it was kind of game over. In the end, I don't think we were on anybody's property, so the side-by-side ripped off. He's like, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And he goes ripping off, playing his music, and my buddy comes walking down with this pup. I'm like, sorry, bro, the cat's gone.
Oh, God, that sounds about right. That'd be like finding your first deer, and it'd be, eaten by coyotes, and the rack's broken or some shit. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck? Oh, I mean, so how long did you get to sit there before they showed up?
Oh, probably 5 minutes. I got videos and pictures and all that stuff, but I'm standing there with no rifle, one dog under the tree, and this cat's just looking at me. When you're that new to it, it was. I wasn't nervous, but it was just kind of like, this is how you get yourself into these situations, eh?
Yeah, you will. You'll continue to for as long as you run dogs, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So the amount of times we find ourselves in the shit mess with no gun and nothing, just the dogs, and it's like that's what I explain to people all the time. People that ask me about them, I find like pet owners, they love their dogs for a certain reason, but it's just like I tell people, I'm like we go to war with these dogs every weekend, right? Like we're out there tracking apex predators, and more often than not, you get yourself in a situation where you're, within yards of a lion or a bear, nasty bear on the ground, and the only thing that's in between you and that animal is your dogs. And it's just like you just develop a whole different level of respect and love for those animals when they're the ones that have your back out there every day.
Yeah, well, I agree. It's like it's a rite of passage to get your first tree, I'm sure, and so after that, like that dog that did that wasn't his first rodeo, right? Like he's been there, but for you, it was your first rodeo, right?
Yeah.
Like, so whenever later on down the line, was there ever a pup on the ground with him when he pulled that same shit off? Like, and you were able to see that?
Yeah. We did tree a few cats with Rebel later that season. Rebel made it through that season, and then the spring after that, going into bear season, he ended up getting punctured. He had a stick go through his rib cage into through his diaphragm into one of his lungs, and he ended up passing away when he was a year old. So that was pretty tragic for me. My first pup died right at a year old, and it was kind of right when he was starting to kick off and do some stuff. So it was a little bit soul crushing to go through that, but it was kind of also like that gut check where it's just like, hey man, this is a possibility in this game, and if you can't deal with that stuff, it's probably not your game. So luckily in that situation, I actually had Banner already lined up, and the day after Rebel died was the day that I picked up Banner. So it was kind of like a new beginning, a new pup, and carry on.
Off you go down the struggle road again.
Yeah, exactly. Start fresh and keep running. But
that blow down stuff's no joke. I've been elk hunt for the last 4 or 5 years. I've gone elk hunting in Colorado, and some places are worse with the blowdown. And dude, well, I guess it was the first year we went. I went with a bunch of guys that track deer, and one of the guys brought his dog, and just in case we were wounded the elk or something, and he just kind of like we were, I don't know how far you call it. We were 7 miles from the truck. It's wilderness, which down here wilderness means you can't any motorized vehicle. It's either horseback or foot, right?
Yeah.
So we're a good ways back, and dog just came with us, and she was very well mannered. We'd be calling elk, and he had her on the lead most of the time, but she was just with us, And of course, as good as I do, it doesn't matter what the shit you've got on or what you're doing. If the wind's wrong, an elk's not going to come in. So it didn't matter if the dog was there or not. But I guess it was probably the third day. I shot my elk day one, 30 minutes into my first elk hunt, which is stupid, right? Like absolutely just dumb luck, And it was a funky goober drop tines, like spike broken pedicle type elk, piece of shit, but I was glad to have him. And but anyways, that next 2 days later we went and we were going through that same area where I shot my bull, and we were walking. The dog was off the lead for some reason, and some coyotes jumped up. Well, she took off chasing those coyotes, and just typical dog stuff. And she went blowing through that stuff and caught a stick right in her chest, dude. And luckily, it was just a big skin tear, and took about a perfect triangle right from her sternum down. And I can only imagine running dogs through that stuff. Like down here, we've got briars, they're little pokey things, but like you've got hundreds of dead evergreen type trees that are just basically daggers at every, or swords everywhere. I can only imagine how much trouble you have with that. But luckily I brought a little suture kit with me up there, and we laid her down. She took it like a champ, and we, fixed her up. But when I was up there, I was like, dude, I can't fathom running any kind of game through this stuff, because that stuff is, it's a dead tree that's hard as rock and as sharp as a sword. Like, I can only imagine chasing game through that. That's probably the majority of your injuries. Like, do you have more injuries with that or with like bear wounds? Like,
well, so it's funny. Bears are real hard on the dogs. Like, I was going to cancel my insurance. I got insurance on 2 of the dogs, and I was going to cancel it about a month ago and just kind of save that money. And then I looked at my wife, and I was just like, listen, bear season's coming up in a month, and we have a bad injury basically every year. Somebody gets tore up real bad by a bear. So I was like, let's just leave it till the end of bear season, and then we'll cancel it. But as far as like the deadfall, man, a couple of years ago, we were hunting cats, and my Henry dog, I swear to God, this dog needs a bulletproof vest and a fucking tactical helmet on him, because if somebody's going to get injured, it's going to be him. And we were running this cat. We didn't catch it, and they come out of the bush, and I see blood in the snow coming out of his paw, and they tear up their feet in the snow all the time, but he was limping. And so I grabbed his paw, and in his heel pad, lengthwise across the heel pad, he had about a quarter to a half inch stick all the way through his heel pad, poking out both sides. And I just grabbed that, pinched that thing on the end, slid it out of his heel, and he was fine after that. But I'm like, holy shit, like he just had a stick right through his paw, like 2 inches through his paw. And then the next weekend we were in the same area. Him and Judge were running this length, and Henry was relatively young at the time, and they were kind of taking turns leading the race. And I'm like looking at my wife, I'm like, Henry's kind of leading this race sometimes. Like, this is fucking awesome. Like, lynx are the hardest cats to catch as far as I'm concerned. So I was pretty impressed that he was smoking this thing. And we actually saw them run it across the road right in front of us. And so I'm like, they are right behind this thing. Like, this is looking good. And they went another 300-400 yards and did a locate loop and pull up tree. And I'm like, fucking right. So we start hiking into the tree. We get to where I can see the dogs, and Judge is welded to the tree like he always is, paws up, hammering. Henry likes to sit back where he can usually see the cat or the bear, and he likes to look at it and do a real fast trot. So he's sitting there doing that, and I walk up and I'm taking videos of the dogs and taking videos of the cat in the tree, and I look over and like I can see something like in Henry's eye, like just inside his eyelid. I'm like, he's got like a burr or something stuck in his eye, and I grab his head and I was like, holy shit, like he's got a stick in his eye, like right in between his eyelid and the bottom of his eyeball. There's a stick sticking out of his eye. So I call my wife over. I'm like, we need to get him like to the vet right now. And luckily we know the vet in that town, so we take him in there and drop him off. And it was kind of funny because I was planning on proposing to my wife at the next cat tree, and so that kind of ruined it. And so in the back of my head, I'm like, well, we'll drop Henry off at the vet, and then, they're going to have to knock him out, sedate him, and do all this stuff. So they're going to call us when he's ready to get picked up. So we went back hunting, and we ended up cutting a bobcat track. And typically up here, the sun goes down in the wintertime around 4 o'clock. So we don't really dump dogs usually after about 2 o'clock unless you're wanting to get a little rowdy. And we cut this bobcat track at 1:58. And I looked at my wife, and she kind of gave me a smirk. She's like, "It's not 2 o'clock yet." And so I said, "Fuck it."
I like her.
I don't. Yeah. I don't Judge and Boone out on this cat, and they made pretty short work of it. And we go down there, and it was ended up being a really cool gray color phase bobcat. Like it was basically a lynx colored bobcat. And my wife shot it, and I proposed to her, did the whole thing, and then we went and picked up Henry from the vet. And the vet tech says, "Well, you got a really lucky boy on your hands." And she walks out with Henry, and she holds out this stick, and it was literally like a 2.5-inch stick with a barb on the end that they were able to pull out of his eye with 0 damage.
Damn.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like I thought for sure like that this dog was going to have no eye, but they gave us this steroid ointment that we had to put on his eye every 2 hours for a week. And the next day his eye was pretty red and a little bit swollen. And the day after that, he looked totally fine, and he was acting totally fine and 0 damage at all.
That's awesome. That's a pretty cool story. So she was the one to say, "Let's take this track," and then you proposed to her on that same track?
Yeah, right at the tree after she killed it.
That's just meant to be.
Well, I just looked at her. I said, "Do you want to do this for the rest of your life?" And she said, "Yeah." And so now I get to hold her accountable to that every time I want to go hunting.
Did you sign a piece of paper right there? Proof it?
It's the marriage contract, right? You said.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was a good day.
So, whenever you're now that you've got like finished type dogs, do you have any pups right now that you're starting with them, or?
No, I'm at a pretty comfortable spot. So I got basically Gators 2. So I got a 2-year-old, 2, 4, 5, 6, and then Copper 7. But like I said, she doesn't run. So yeah, 2, 4, 5, and 6. So I got like a pretty good age bracket right now. And like I said, with the kind of space constraints we're living with in our home situation right now, I'm not trying to get any more dogs. Legally, with the bylaw, we're only supposed to have no more than 3 dogs here, and we're at 5 right now, and we were at 6 last year. So we've been kind of playing the neighbor game and trying to keep everything under cover. So until we move and get a little more space, I don't think there'll be any more dogs. But that being said, Judge did just knock up a bitch last month. So there are Judge pups coming soon. So I don't know. Might have to sweet talk the wife into something.
Yeah. I don't blame you there. Sounds like that dude has earned his keep.
Yeah, for sure. But no, I like where I'm at right now. Like the age bracket's really good. I mean, for the first, what was it? I think for the first 6 years, I got a new pup every year. And I just got, puppies can be a bit of a nightmare. Sometimes a couple of them didn't work out, but it was just kind of like there's always that excitement of seeing what this new dog is going to do and what it's going to be like. And now that I haven't got a new dog for the last year, it's been a little bit different. You just get so used to that kind of excitement and anticipation of seeing what this dog's going to grow into. But on the other hand, it is nice just having a solid, reliable pack. The 4 dogs, like I was saying before, you kick them out, you kind of know what to expect. There's not too many curveballs coming my way these days. So the comfortability factor is really nice. But I think if we've been looking to move for the last few years. The housing market here has been super crazy the last little bit. But if we do get into a new place, I would definitely like to pick up at least one more. And 5 is a pretty good number for what we do.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine 5 dogs.
Joey, tell me how many dogs you got.
Oh, we're down to 35 now. 2 years ago, I had 65. 10 years ago, I had 125.
Are you kidding me?
I'm dead ass serious. Like I have had several dog yards. Oh yeah. Like, I mean, but I was doing, I was recreating a breed, several different breeding programs. You know, I had terriers, then we had, the cur dogs, and I had Airedales, bull terriers, American pit bull terriers, the draughts, different type bird dogs we had, like all kinds of different breeds. I had over 20 different breeds at one time too.
That is fascinating.
Oh, it's 100
so
pounds
you're real
of dog food a day.
Oh,
that's what it was.
Well,
now.
You need to have a chat.
Do what?
You need to have a chat with my wife and tell her that our life isn't so bad.
Oh no, you got it great, brother. But like,
yeah,
in all honesty, you know, like you were talking about earlier, having that excitement of doing these things. I'm very blessed. I live in the country. I have plenty of land. I have a lot of resources, and my son and my brother-in-law, all of us were, you know, taking care of this stuff together. So it was kind of shared. And then I wound up getting hurt. And so that's when we started really reeling back on dogs. And man, we wound up having to switch the entire process of how we do everything, because the hogs here, they just started running so much. We couldn't use the rough dogs like we were using. We were catching everything, and now we're loose baying everything. And so we don't have to have as many dogs. Like you said, you get 4 or 5 good ones, and you got a good pack. And then I keep a couple of up and comers. I like the puppies. I love messing with young dogs. And but like you said, once you get to the comfortable part of it, there's a lot of times where you go and you're like, man, this is great, because you're not wondering or worrying or anything like that. But then I don't know, after about a year of that, it's like, okay, I need some chaos in my life. So
yes, sir.
I need to get a couple of young dogs that are going to trespass, and they're going to run deer and dig armadillos up, and they're going to go to somebody's cow pasture and bathe their cows. You know, I need these things in my life.
Yeah. But you can only be comfortable for so long. But I find now that I'm kind of settled in, I met a guy who has a Leica, and she's a year and a half now.
Yeah.
And he's been really trying to get her going on cats and bears. And so just this past cat season, I invited him out quite a few times to see if she would run with my dogs. And so it's kind of like getting a new dog in the mix. It's kind of exciting, and you don't have to deal with any of the shitty parts of it. But it's been kind of nice hunt with him. We're going to take him out this weekend and see. She didn't really have much interest in the cats this year, but I don't know anything about Leicas. But from what he was telling me, sometimes I guess they need a little bit of getting used to run with a pack of hounds.
Yeah, there's the ones I've been around are solo dogs mostly.
Yeah, she wasn't real interested in the chaos or anything like that. Every time the dogs would blow up and take off on a cat track, she would maybe go 100 yards and come back to us. But even at the tree, she wouldn't even really look up at the cat. She would just kind of mill around. We shot a cat the last time we were out, and we put all the other dogs back in the box and just let her kind of mess with the cat. And she was a little bit interested, but not too crazy on it. So I was thinking maybe if we get her out on some bears and get on a good bay up or something like that, and she can get a good look at a bear, maybe she'll join in. But it'll be interesting to see how that kind of dynamic progresses.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
don't
pretty cool.
know a lot about them, but it's like the ones that I've seen is just a 1 or 2 dog type deal.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, which is tough if you got one. Yeah, if you got one that doesn't want to start a track, he's kind of getting run through the ringer right now because she'll treat squirrels in his backyard, but she doesn't seem to be interested in going after a bear or a cat on her own. So I'm like, I don't really know what to tell you. I can let you run with my dogs, but if she doesn't seem interested in that, it might be a long road.
Maybe that first on the ground bay of a bear might light that fire.
Yeah, I hope
so.
Man.
If it doesn't, then you can pretty much, I mean, if she's of age, I would assume that she probably wasn't going to do it. But
yeah, how old is she?
Yeah, I think maybe she's 18 months.
Oh yeah. We still got some time.
Yeah, for sure.
I talked to.
And I don't know, maybe if not all the dogs are out on a bear, maybe just kick 1 or 2 out and let her try and go with a couple of them. Maybe she'll feel a little more comfortable.
Mm. Does he have more than one dog, or is she the only dog that he has?
She's the only hunting dog that he has. He's got a couple more house dwellers.
There might be some of it too. I've got a couple of dogs. They're very independent, and I've got litter mates out here right now that one of them is it'll go with any dog that's around. And if there's not a dog, he's going to go anyway. That yellow blackmouth cur I got from Rusty, tough. He'll do it no matter what. His sister, completely different story. Just like you described. If I put her out with, even if it can be older finished dogs, she's going to go about 100 yards and she's going to come back. And she'll go the opposite direction, and she might go a mile deep by herself. But she does not want to go with any other dogs.
It's interesting. It's not something I'm used to. Like all the dogs that I've ended up with are just they have such a high prey drive. It doesn't matter if they're together or solo or whatever it is. Like they want to run shit.
Yeah.
It's just a totally different dynamic that I feel kind of useless when we're out with them because I can't give them any advice on this breed that I know nothing about and this demeanor of dog that I'm just not used to. Like my dogs are just little hellions, right? It's half the time I'm trying to hold him back versus let him go, and then he's just got the opposite problem. So it's different, but I mean, it's going to be an interesting learning process. But I hope she kicks off this bear season. It'd be awesome to get her on some bay ups and stuff like that, and actually, get face to face with a live animal instead of trying to, it never seems to go too well when you got a cat 30 feet up in a tree and you're trying to fucking hold the dog's face and make him look at something. They never want to look up there, right? But
that just sounds so funny. I could see, especially guys in the South. I can see Ricky holding his dog's face. Look at that fucking deer. You see it? It's right over there.
I've done
Go
it.
get the fucking deer.
I promise you.
And I know a fat man-headed guy that's done it with hogs. It's like, you see the hog? He's right there. Go get him.
So one of the first few cats that I treated when I still had Ringo and Rebel, like I said, Rebel was a real late starting dog, and I cut this cat track and let Ringo go, and Rebel went like a couple 100 yards and then came back to the truck, and Ringo made pretty short work of it and treated this Tom, and so we go hiking up there, me and Rebel, and the cat's in the tree, and I'm doing, I'm holding his face, bark at it, right? Do something, and he's just sitting there in the snow shaking because he's cold. I'm like, fuck, this is not going well, right? And so I'm standing under the tree, tapping on it, banging on the tree, trying to get Rebel to put his paws up on the tree, and all of a sudden I'm tapping on the tree, and I look up, and above me, the cat's now inverted, facing down the tree, climbing down the tree right above my head, getting ready to bail. And I look over at Rebel, and I just grabbed him, one hand on the collar, one hand on the ass, and I grabbed him and just threw him in that cat's face. And it bailed, and I just fucking threw him right at that cat, and made him barreling off through the snow. I'm like, now we're on him, aren't we?
It takes that sometimes. You gotta get slapped in the face or flung up in the air. Or, wake up, motherfucker! This is what we're after.
Yeah, it was funny.
this little cur dog that I've been working with, last year she was just like literally turned 1, come February when we start chasing pigs. And, at 6 months, I showed her a pig on had it hobbled, and she fucking she literally looked at it and ran the other direction. I was like, oh my God. And, and then later on we had some pigs in a trap, took her over there. She literally could not give less of a fuck. Like, I mean, just zero interest. And I'm like, well, shit. And then I put her down. Yeah, I put her up in the kennels, and then we had deer season. Well, then we went through deer season, and now she's 1 year old, and I'm trying to start a hog dog, and I didn't have a dog to start her with or anything. I could run her with my buddy's dogs, which is super beneficial because, like, if she goes and does something, like, their dogs are keeping us honest. Like, we know that they're after a pig or she's chasing a deer or whatever. Like, which she never did for some reason. She just always kind of, once she finally went to a bay and saw a pig, she was, was very, very loose, very, she was 20 yards away and kind of like would bark and then look at me and then, kind of bark and look at me and then kind of run a big loop, and then, it's kind of like, oh God, like, here we go. I got this, I got another fucking dog, but they ain't gonna do it, and I'm used to it, so whatever. And, I took her with some other buddies, and they're like, yeah, she's probably not going to do it, man. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. Well, towards the end of the season, I put her down with her sister, litter mate sister. And we went out one day, and it was the two sisters, and then not the mom, but like an aunt, like same line, same shit. Just, she was finished type dog. Well, they went and bayed a sounder. Like, a sounder for us is like a group of pigs, right? Well, they bay the group. We go and we got 2 catch dogs, and I'm with Michael Moore, my buddy that has been doing this forever and knows what the hell he's doing. I don't know what the shit I'm doing. And he's got a catch dog. I got a catch dog. We get up to this group, and they're it's chaos. It's what do we call it? They're rallying, right? So it's just fucking mayhem. And I was like, what do you want to do? He's like, I'm gonna drop this catch dog. She's gonna catch one because this is finished catch dog. And then you're gonna drop your catch dog, and we're gonna pray that she catches one. Oh, Joey, I guess he's calling me back. I guess he got off the call. Hold on a second.
Oh shit.
Yeah, who knows how long we've been talking.
Well, it didn't sound like it. Go ahead. Let's see where we're at. What time? Where's the team at? Hour 17.
Are you there, Joel?
Yeah. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Joel, Joey.
Yeah, every time you say that, I'm like, yeah. Hour and
I don't know where you lost me at.
You said you had a couple catch dogs.
I was going to say, I think
yeah. You're right there. Yeah, you didn't miss much of it. So, anyways, drop his dog, catch pig, drop mine, they're both his damn dogs. But catch 2, well, we look down and the 2 sisters are 700 and they're bayed again. So they basically, the sounder broke, they ran and they kind of stayed together. Well, the sisters rolled with them. And I'm like, these are, 11, 12-month-old dogs. And I was like, well, gosh damn, that she hadn't been doing this, and then she went over there. We went to that group. We went over there, and I think we ended up catching 1 out of that group, out of that bay, right? Well, we catch 1 out of that bay. They fucking roll out again. They another 6, 7, 800 yards. They bay up the sounder again. So we go to that one. We catch 2 pigs out of that one, and they roll out a fucking again. And it's just like they're just pow, relay. And I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? Like, it was almost like she found her sister and game was on. Well, we ended up going down, and they finally, the very last deal, she caught a shoat, which she had never seen. Like, she never really caught one. And she come back to me with a little, 10-pound piglet in her mouth, and she's as happy as she can be. And I'm not mad at it at all. Hell, we just we just caught 6 pigs out of one sounder, you know? Well,
And that,
after, yeah, I was like, we you know, what, the light switch flipped, you know, and I don't know what it was. She was just, maybe she's a little racist bitch, and she was just with her yellow dog friends, and she thought she could be cool, you know, and that's what she did. But since then, you know, we worked through the summer and found a couple pigs here and there. Well, this year, like, she's finding her own pig now, and she's like the relay specialist. Like, if as soon as you lay hands on the pig, you know, of course, you know, we grab a pig, we flip it, we stab it, or we tie it, one or the other. And if by the time you're done stabbing or tying, she's gone. She's rolling out. But if she's there by herself, she's a real loose bay, doesn't bark a whole lot. She's there. She's got the pig stop. But you know, inside of you know, if you got a couple dogs on the ground, you know, she's there. She's waiting for you to show up, touch that pig so she can fucking leave and go do it again. Like, whereas the other dog that I have, she's all about the bay. Like, she's just hammering, sounds beautiful, all the things. But, you know, as soon as you kill a pig, she's still hanging out. And Marge is 700 already trying to keep up, you know, with that sounder again. So it's been cool to see, because last year I thought I was going to call her. You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those deals. Like, you know, had I not seen her roll with her sister that one day and seen that little glimpse of maybe possibility, you know, that she's going to do it. And, you know, and like I said, she's not some badass dog now by any stretch of the imagination, but there's possibilities now. It's not like I'm dealing with a straight cull. Like, I've got a dog that, you know, she might find a pig, she might not, but like, I know what she's capable of. And if you do get on a sounder, you can bet your ass if a dog catches that pig or you catch that pig, she's gone, and she's going to go try to run that sounder down again. Now, I've yet to have her be successful solo on a relay. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, catch pig, and then she relays. When we say relay, like, she leaves and goes and tries to find more. I have yet to have her finish one. I've had her gone, you know, several times, you know, a mile and a half by herself, relaying, right? She hasn't finished one yet. She came back. One of the first hunts we did this year, she did a relay 1.4 miles or whatever it was, and came back. And surprisingly, she wasn't gutted, but I'm talking, I put 20 staples in her belly and her side. Like, she got whatever she finally stopped, fucked her up pretty good. And and it was like, gosh dang, like, we were so close there. And like, the last, you know, couple months we've been doing it, she's always going and relaying, and so she hasn't stopped them yet. And I think the day that she does realize that she can keep going and finish by herself, like, that'll be the life switch, the second light switch of her life, like, where she's the relay and the solo stop. You know, don't stop the trail race until you stop them again type deal. But it's, you know, I don't know. Fuck, I don't even know what I'm talking about with big dogs, but it seems like that would be the next cursor. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to her stopping the relay by herself, is what I'm saying.
So that's just what's so addicting about getting those new pups, right? Like, it's just that addiction of watching them hit that light switch, and it's just like, you get that new dog, and, you know, they hit that age where they want to start going, or you think they're going to start going, and then you know, they drop a couple races, and you're like, oh fuck, you know, I don't know if this is going to happen, right? And then you hold on, you keep holding on through the struggle bus, and then one day, like you say, they hit that light switch and they just take off hammering. And then for us, it's like, you know, for me, that first kind of light switch is when, you know, they're keeping up with the pack, they're hammering the tracks, they're not dropping races. And then that second light switch is when they start locating the tree on their own. Like, I can probably remember each one of my dog's first tree where they for sure treed that animal by themselves and located that tree. Like, that's the biggest day for me. When that pup locates a tree before the rest of the dogs are solo or whatever it is, it's just like, that makes every other shitty day worth all of every penny that it costs, all the effort, all the blood, sweat, and tears. It's just like, this is the best fucking day ever. And when you don't have those new pups coming up, it's like you don't really have that to look forward to, right?
Yep. So you got to have puppies.
I was about to say, this is a sign. I think this is a sign for you.
Yeah, it
Go ahead
is.
and get you a couple pups.
I mean, like, you got to now.
Here's your sign, motherfucker.
I mean,
if you don't know, now you know.
There's going to be 100 countries listening to this, and they're all going to be sitting around thinking, fuck, he needs puppies, man. And you're going to let all those people down?
I'm going to get some DMs after this.
Yeah, you're going to let everybody down.
DMs after this. Get that fucking dog. Oh, man.
Get that bitch in heat.
Yeah, we're going to get something going.
Yeah.
That's...
that little cur dog you got.
So that yellow...
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go.
I was going to say that little cur dog you're talking about, that little yellow dog, she sounds just about like Rick, the way he hunts. Like if he's by himself, he'll be real loose and he's just hanging out, you know. He relays, you know, does all these things. And so I'm thinking, you know, maybe when she comes of age and time is there.
I hope so.
So. Maybe we can introduce Rick to her.
Yeah, I don't think you could go wrong with that.
That dude is bad.
There's probably more dogs than I need, but
some bitch again.
No, I agree.
No, he I like the relaying part. Seems like it's I've heard people talk about teaching their dogs that by just swatting them, you know. And I do it. I'm guilty of it. You know, just swat the dogs away, tell them go find another one, whatever. But there's dogs that it's just natural. Like you said, like they just automatically roll out. Yep. He's the same way.
No, I don't know what I'm doing. So
yeah, I mean, I don't either. I'm doing it a long time, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, it was weird. There's the first time.
There's those tricky things to like teach a young dog how to do, right? It's like I can't imagine how you would teach a dog how to do that. It's kind of like us. It's like you can run a drag if you want to teach a dog how to locate. You can run a drag and put it up the tree, but it doesn't take long for those dogs to figure out that this isn't real life and it's just a hide up there. You know, you drag a hide through the woods and they're smelling your tracks and the hide, and it's just not the same thing, right? So it's like I went through that with some of my dogs where it's like they would run until the cows come home and they had no problem tracking, but locating that tree, they just couldn't pick it up. And it's just like, how do you teach a dog how to do that? You know, especially for me, like most of the time when it comes time to locate, you know, the dogs are, you know, hundreds of yards, if not miles away. It's not like you can just hop and skip to the tree and help them find it, right? So it's tough when you get to those situations.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys that have tried to make the argument that they have taught their dog to track, and they taught their dog to hunt, and they taught their dog to run the track. I'm like, really? How do you know how to run a track? I mean, how good is your fucking nose? You know,
how good is your nose?
Yeah, I mean, like, I need to breed you into my program or something. But I just don't, like you said, you can guide them. This is just me, my dumbass thoughts. You can guide them to what you want, but like we were talking about, that natural instinct, there's no replacement for it. You know, especially you get a dog that just naturally wants to do it. And like you said, it'll spoil you because you don't even have to really do nothing. Just take them hunting. If you get out of the way, I got a story about natural.
Yeah, I got a story about natural instinct. It was pretty funny when Banner was 12 weeks old. We went bear hunting. A few of us that had dogs, and we were all kind of at the same stage. Me and a couple buddies, we all kind of had one finished dog. None of them were hammers, but they were all kind of good at one thing and okay at the rest of the stuff. And a couple pups. So we had Banner, and then my buddy had Banner's sister, Debbie, and they were both 12 weeks old. So we went out bear hunting, and it was funny. We were driving roads, and then there was a couple older guys. They were probably, you know, in their 60s, and kind of we're driving around looking for the dogs to strike, and we would kind of pass them on 2 or 3 roads and kind of wave to them. And then I think on the third road when we passed them, we're like, you know, you guys bear hunting? They're like, yeah, we're looking for a bear. And we're like, do you ever hunt with hounds? And they're like, no. We're like, you guys want to check it out? And they're like, fuck yeah. They're like, sweet, follow us. So they just start driving around behind us. Didn't take too long. The dogs strike, so we let all the big dogs out. They're running a bear up this mountain, and we're kind of watching the GPS paralleling the dogs on the road. They're 400 or 500 yards up the mountain, paralleling us. And fucking big boar runs across the road right in front of us, a different bear. And we're like, holy shit. So we kind of stopped the truck, and we're just watching the GPS at this point. And I go to let the pups out for a piss. And it was the first day that I had ever put one of the tracking collars on Banner. He was way too small to wear it properly. I just wanted to get him used to it and just kind of feel what it was like. So I'd never had a collar on him before, and the pups are out milling around having a pee, and we're just watching the GPS bullshit. And then all of a sudden I look at the GPS, and fucking Banner's 400 yards down the mountain where that boar just ran across the road. And I was like, holy shit, like he went after that bear. And we run to the edge of the road, and I hear him yelping down the mountain. Now keep in mind, like I said, Rebel had just died like, a month before that with the whole stick thing. And now my 12-week-old puppy's down the mountain yelping after a big boar just went across the road. So I go running down this mountain, and I'm ripping through the bush, and my fucking buddy, who's an absolute beast of a human being, comes running up beside me. He's got a knife in each hand, just sprinting down the mountain beside me. And we get up to Banner, and he's fucking stuck in this log jam, just 12-week-old puppy, just rolling around in this log jam, all hung up on his collar, yelping away. I'm like, holy fuck. I thought he was getting eaten by this bear. And then I was like, well, there's no way, like, he was actually tracking the bear. Like, there's no fucking way this little puppy was doing that. So we grab him, scoop him up. The other race wasn't really panning out, so we scooped up all the big dogs, and we drove them back to where that bear sailed off the edge of the road, and we dumped them on that. And they sure as shit followed his line exactly right down to the log jam that he was stuck in.
Wow.
Went maybe another 300 yards past that and treed that bear.
Hell yeah.
Oh, holy shit.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, ran his exact line. 12 weeks old, he went tracking that bear. I was like, this dog is going to catch on pretty quick. But it was a super awesome experience. We took those guys down with us. They ended up shooting a bear, and we packed it up to the road for them. And they were like, oh, like, you guys want some money or something? We're like, no, we don't want money. They're like, well, we got to do something to repay you back. I'm like, just when people talk about hound hunting, like, tell them it was a good time. Like, give us some good press out there because we need it. And they were just super appreciative, never expected to ever experience anything like that. It was just like a sweet day with a couple random dudes, ended up getting a tree of bear and take one home. It was pretty neat.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome that you did that, because you probably just made a lifetime, pro houndsman. Even if he never has hounds, he's always going to remember that. That's badass.
Absolutely.
Well, because we battle it with other, call them normal hunters, right? It's just like, how it goes. A lot of hunters don't respect other people's way of hunting, whether it's long range hunting or predator hunting. Oh, you're not eating a wolf, why are you killing it? Or you're not eating a coyote, why are you messing with them, and all this stuff. So it's kind of nice just to interact with other hunters and show them what something that they're not exposed to is actually about. And you never really know what it's about until you do it. So it's kind of a sweet experience to be able to show them that.
Yeah. So I wish I had that opportunity more often. Like, I show a lot of people, because every deer track that I go on, like, obviously somebody's attached to this deer. It's not me. They shot it, so I'm helping them. So I make believers of that deal, daily during deer season. But the bridge between that and getting access to the hog dog and stuff is I don't know how to make that bridge connect, because I'll have guys pay me to deer track, but then won't let me come run pigs after season because it affects their deer hunt. And I'm like,
yeah,
you just pay me to run your deer that you shot in the ass 2 miles off your property, and he probably got killed on the neighbors a week later, but you don't care about the pig deal. And I don't know how to bridge that, but I've taken a couple guys that were interested, like they have big deer leases or they own property. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? You want to run some pigs on that place? And recently I've had one or two take advantage of it, like, hey, come on out. We'd love to, we want to tag along. And they were like, this first pig that they, catch. And, of course they're going in and grabbing a pig. Usually I'm probably grabbing it or one of my buddies, and then they're doing the knife work, and to them, that's the coolest shit on the planet. Like, dude, I had no idea it was like this. Like, this is fucking awesome. And until somebody goes and experiences that firsthand, they're always gonna think that the dogs are chasing deer off. Or the other day we went to a property and there were some turkey hunters like, don't flush our turkeys off the roost. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, yeah, my dog's gonna climb up in the tree and flush your turkey out of the roost. Like, what the shit, But
in my mind,
firsthand experience, like firsthand experience for those guys would be like just a total game changer for their thought process on, what they think or what they thought about dogs and chasing game or whatever. So
yeah, and it's funny because I really like taking people out that haven't done it before, because I remember what it was like, before I had done it. And it's also kind of nice because you get a little bit jaded to the fact, like if we treat a small female lion or something like that, it's definitely not as exciting as the first one used to be. But if you've got somebody with you that's never seen a cat before, it kind of revitalizes that whole experience. So I love taking people out, and the odd guy that has younger dogs that's starting out or something like that. But hound hunting seems to be one of those things where it's just like you either think it's the best thing on earth or you're just not really interested. It's not kind of like some other things that you can do casually, some guys are into this and go elk hunting once or twice a year, or go deer hunting on the odd weekend or something like that. But when it comes to the dogs, it seems like you're either 110% or just it's not for you.
I agree. There's been a lot of guys that we've taken, just like when they see how much we care and how, like, if I lose a dog on the Garmin and I can't find them, like I'm trying to figure out where the shit they're at. Like obviously 99% of the time they're fine and they're just, in a draw, or we're down this. We've got a river by us, and once you get down there level with that river, like you lose all signals to fucking everything. And so it's pretty common to not know where your dogs are at that time. But like I'm a little bit stressed out. I mean, kinda, depending on the situation. But like I want to know that so much is at all times. That way, if he is treed or bayed, like I can get there and help him. Like he's done his job. It's my job to know where the fuck he's at and then go help him if he needs it or she needs it or whatever the situation is. And when they see that, it's like, damn, this is kind of like, it's like a teamwork and you care for your dogs and not just a bunch of goobers, rednecks running around with, dogs that you think you can just trade in for the next dog. Like it's not like that. And they don't know that until they see it firsthand.
Yeah. Do you guys have, if you got to leave a dog out for any extended time, do you guys have like predators or anything that you got to worry about with that down there? Or is it relatively okay?
No, not for me. I'm probably speaking for Joey too. I don't think we have. There's lions around, but like I'm talking super rare for me.
Yeah, it's the same here. Like we have like maybe one lion sighting a year in the whole state, one or two.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's the elusive black panther that jumped across the road in front of Mama. It's like, oh, whatever. It's damn somebody's house cat.
Yeah.
But no. We are the apex predator.
Let's say the thing I'd be worried about is people. I don't give a shit about. They can handle themselves with animals around here. I'd be more worried about somebody taking the dog or shooting the dog because they could get harassed in their game or something like that. I'd be
the shooting
way more worried about humans.
Yeah.
Here it's the opposite. If I had $1 for every time someone has snatched up one of my dogs mid-race, and then I get a phone call saying, "Hey, I found your dog. He's really cold and hungry."
Yeah.
Oh God. Let him go,
like,
motherfucker.
Yeah, it's like, please just drop him where you found him and let me finish this race. But yeah, as far as like leaving dogs overnight and stuff, like the wolves up here are just out of fucking control. So it's pretty tough. If you got to leave a dog overnight, it's a sleepless night up here, and we're usually able to get them back. There's been the odd instance where where they've had to camp out there, but with the amount of wolves, it's pretty nerve wracking up here. Like honestly, even just on the runs, it's my number one goal in life is to experience a hound hunt where I don't have to worry about wolves, because even on a good day up here, even if I haven't seen any tracks that day in cat season, there's a level of anxiety for the entire race where it's just like, let's get this thing caught, let's get to the tree, because you just don't know where they're at.
I was curious if they all had wolves, because you hear about those guys and like around Yellowstone and stuff that like, those wolves hear a tree, fuck, they're going to it. That's dinner. They go there and smash a bunch of dogs in their territory.
There's not a lot of days cat hunting where I don't cut wolf tracks. Usually at least every hour, if not more.
Damn,
that is wild. You've never met one at a tree, like met a pack or anything?
No, the closest I've come that I know of actually they fucking ran a wolf last year.
mm-hmm.
I shit you not. We put out, yeah, fuck it, right? So we were coming down the mountain and we were right at the snow line, and so I can't remember why, but I was roading dogs. I think it was towards the end of the day, so I was just exercising them on the road, and we were just below the snow line, so we're in the dry ground, and Boone's tail starts whipping around. He strikes up, takes off. The rest of them chime in, and they take off. I'm like, shit, like, we're on this fucking race. And they take off up and over this mountain. We got to go back out to the highway, drive up the highway, come in another FSR, cut them off, and we get in front of them. And now we're back in the snow. There's a nice, 2-inch skip. And I'm kind of in line with where they're headed, and I see this big wolf track coming across the road. And so I start walking up and down the road, 200-300 yards on either side, and there ain't no cat track anywhere, and they're headed right for us. And I watch all these dogs single file come out of the tree line right on this wolf track, just hammering. And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And it was a big wolf track too. I have no idea why they decided to lock onto that, but I'm not sure what would have happened if they caught up to it. But the only other instance I had was, yeah, I guess so, but not for long in that country. But the only other instance I had was we were running a cat and they didn't catch it, and 2 of my dogs were backtracking. So luckily they weren't baying, but me and a buddy were up on a high point looking down in the valley, and we could hear wolves howling down there, and they were literally howling right on the line that the dogs were backtracking on. But luckily they weren't making any noise at that point.
Yeah. That's one of those horror story type deals where I feel like I've talked to, it's probably just been on Instagram or whatever, but a handful of folks, you end up at a tree and dead dogs scattered everywhere because the wolf came through.
That's fucking worst nightmare.
Yeah, no, that would be very hard. That's that's obviously we don't have to worry about that, but it's a similar deal. It's like the dogs get bayed, treed, whatever it is. Like it's like to me, there's always a little bit of stress to get there to see what's going on and make sure everything's good. So. I
actually tried running those hog vests on a couple of them for a little bit, but they just didn't like wearing them. Yeah, they just didn't like wearing them. I honestly didn't put that much effort into them. I roaded them a few times with the vests on, and they were just walking all funny and shit like that. And I was just like, man, it'd be nice to have something on them that would at least give them a little bit of protection if they started getting chewed up. But at the end of the day, I think if there was a decent something you could do to kind of mitigate that, I think somebody would have figured it out.
Man, I keep thinking that somebody's going to come up with like some pantyhose shit that's fucking bulletproof, like John Wick has in his jacket.
They have it. They do have it.
It's happening?
Ricky. Well,
okay.
Here's the thing.
I feel like it's going to happen.
It's already all right. The military's got it in use, and they can get the material. And I talked to the guys who make all these vests and stuff. And
you know a guy?
The problem is there's 2 of them, and the problem is it's extremely expensive. I mean, like the price of our cut vest would double. But I told him, I was like, look, I mean, we're between $250 and $300 for a really, really good cut vest. I said, man, if you can make it lighter weight and even more protection, I would pay double. Most of us would.
Take my money.
Yeah, like I was like, because that's what the issue was, and he's like, man, it's a big investment because you got to buy a certain amount, and we're talking 6 figures, and that's what I told him. I was like, if you sell that many already throughout the course of a couple of years, I said, I really think that you would sell at least 50% of what you're already selling, because half of us really care about our dogs. At least half of us. My God, probably more. I would like to think way more. But and I do know that funds are limited for some. But there's some of us out here, we're going to make it happen. If you got to go cut somebody's grass or haul off aluminum cans or whatever, we're going to make it happen. I know I will.
And we're talking about hunters here, right? Like, fucking, we're itching to spend money on everything.
That's exactly right.
Most of us got a $10,000 rifle to go elk hunting with. You think we're not going to spend $600-700 on the vest?
Yeah.
To keep a dog alive for 10-12 years instead of getting killed?
And those vests last, man. I've got some that are 25 years old. I mean, now, true enough, I haven't ran them a whole lot in the past 10 years, but I got 8 or 10 good years out of them. And for a couple $100, shit, that ain't nothing.
Yeah, it'd be nice to figure something out, because, like I said, it's so much fun when you're out there, but that underlying anxiety for every cat race, for some reason, and I don't know what the difference is, but once springtime comes and we're hunting bears, I don't worry about the wolves. And I know they're still there, right? They didn't go away, but I don't worry about them because I can't see their tracks. And I don't know where they are. But as soon as winter hits and I can see their tracks, it's just like it's so hard to try and enjoy a race when you're just, you're ripping those roads, trying to stay tight to those dogs as much as possible. And then, of course, they're going to tree something on a road that's snowed in and you can't get up it, and you got a hour and a half hike to the tree, and it's all you can think about the whole time. Like, sucks for my wife because I just leave her behind. It's just like, I got to get to the tree. And, if we've got people with us, or, we bring out the kids all the time and stuff like that. And it's just like, I got to get to the tree and make sure the dogs are okay. And I'll see you when you get there. Because if we, drag our ass and get there and somebody's hurt or worse, then I'm not going to be happy about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then you're going to be blaming yourself for not getting there.
Yeah. And, touch wood, it hasn't happened yet, but I know people that have lost dogs to wolves. I know I've talked to people out in the mountain that have lost their whole pack to dogs, and I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
That would be good. You get one dog. One dog's a big deal. You wipe your whole damn pack out. That would be grounds for, like, do you start over or do you say fuck it? Because that's shit. I don't know where.
If I lost my whole pack, I would definitely have to take a hard break and contemplate, what would happen after that. I honestly can't even imagine.
It sucks. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've really? Yes. I almost lost my whole pack twice, but I lost my entire pack. I had one dog that lived, and he wound up, well, I say he lived through the wreck, but he wound up passing away like 6 or 7 days later. And I was at the point, like, I threw my hands up. I was like, it's it for me. I'm done. Every one of these dogs, the youngest one was 5 and the oldest was 9. And I raised all of them except for one. And I was like, I got all these years in this, and here I am, And that's when I went on a rampage after that. And that's when I started having 50, 60 dogs. Like, I said, I will never, ever get caught, because my sons are the one that talked me into keep on going. And they probably regret every bit of that. And so I went from that to where I went and got a couple of dogs from some guys that I knew to get mine started. And then I had 3 full packs of dogs, of all rough dogs, all grown dogs, 3 full packs, either 4 or 6 in each pack, depending on which style of dog I was running. Then I had some that were like a year old, year and a half old, and then I had puppies. And I had 3 packs of each one. I lost my mind. Yeah. But I never got caught again.
bit of an overcorrection maybe, but
it was.
We're here now.
Yeah, it went well. Like I said, I wound up getting into some stuff where we were creating a breed that, or recreating a breed, and I wound up inheriting a bunch of that. It wasn't what I wanted to do, but I was like, man, we've got several years in this project. I'm not going to just walk away from it. So, but yeah, I couldn't imagine somebody like, if you've only got 5 or 6 dogs, and that's why I guess I'm like I am still today. I got to have 15 or 20 dogs.
It would be nice for sure.
There's young dogs and there's pups. That makes up the majority of it. And then I've probably got about 8 or 9 older dogs, that are I'd say more on the finish side of things. And they still suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what that's like. Sucking.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna start to simmer down. You got anything you want to ask or story you want to tell before I drop this on you?
No, drop it on me.
Okay, so this is gonna be my closer from now on. I just came up with it earlier. I don't know why, but from now on, I want to close out like each segment, and I want to know like what your goal is with your dogs over the next year or two. Like, what's your plan and what's your goals? Like, because in my mind, if you don't have goals, then you're just fucking simmering. You're just sitting in the same spot. So, like, what do you think? Like, do you have a goal that you would set for the next year?
Apparently, my goal is to get a bunch more dogs now.
I knew the answer to that. I knew that was coming.
Apparently, I know what I have to do. If I had to think about that right off the top, I mean, I know the likelihood of getting more dogs in the next year or two probably isn't that great. Like I said, pretty comfortable with where I'm at as far as the level of how they're hunting right now, but I know for sure that they need to work on the small cats, and I really enjoy chasing the bobcats and the lynx. It's a lot more technical. It takes a lot smarter of a dog to catch those cats consistently, and we caught a lot of them when I had Judge, and I know that was mainly because he's just such a good locating dog. So now that Judge isn't around, I'd really like to see the older dogs really hone in on the small cats and work on locating those trees and not just, catching a couple of them a year where you get where they see one go up a tree. So we caught that one or they get lucky. It's like, I'd really like to see them start locating those small cats consistently to where I can put out on a bobcat or a lynx and reliably think that we're going to catch it. I don't know how the hell I'm going to get there, but yeah, that would definitely be something to work on over the next year or two.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, when you talked about it earlier, I could tell it was like a desire. Whenever that's like my desire now is to go and catch pigs. Well, I could tell when they were talking about it, you didn't put very many cats up a tree, or it was like, what the fuck's going on? Like,
well, it eats you up, right? Because like I said, you get to that point where with the bears and the lions, I know if I got a good lion track, when I dump the dogs, I'm like, we're catching this fucker, right? Like if we don't, something seriously went wrong. But when I put out on a bobcat or a lynx, it's kind of like, well, I hope we catch it. If we do, I'll be really stoked. So I'd just like to progress to that point where it's just like, no, this is a good track. We're probably going to get this one.
Yeah. What I've noticed with people that are genuinely trying to be better or whatever, there's always that next something. Like Joey's creating a dog breed or whatever shit. Like I'm trying to make a hog dog now. It's you've conquered maybe not conquered, but like you've been successful in the lions and bears. Like I've been successful in deer. I haven't conquered it. I'll never conquer it. Like you're never gonna conquer any damn pound type scenario. Like if you've conquered it, then you need to just quit and start something else. But in my mind, like you get successful at something, and then it's like, all right, feel pretty confident with this, and now I wanna push towards this. So that's kind of what my question was, because I feel like, keeping it's similar to, like, to me in the fire service, which I'm a fireman. I know it's silly, but there's always something that I ask young guys. I'm like, hey, what do you plan on doing? Like, do you want to, like, kind of be a fireman, or do you want to, like, be the baddest motherfucker that shows up on the fire ground? Like, that's something I'm kind of passionate in. And to me, it's like, you conquer one thing, and then, like, okay, so now I want to be really good at this. So that's where I'm steering my path, like, towards the end of the segment. From now on, it's going to be kind of my question. So you were the first one, so that was good. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to say puppies, because we just harped on your ass about it.
Yeah. But then once they conquer the bobcats and the lynx, then I'll get a couple puppies and fuck everything all up again.
Yeah.
I gotta get that spark back in there.
Yes, sir.
That's cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Joel. It was good, and it's always good to talk to somebody from a different freaking country and all the things. So, man, I don't know nothing about lions and bears, so it's always intriguing to me to listen to those guys, and I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on, and if you ever make it up north, you'd be sure to give me a call. We'll get out for a run.
We're gonna have to make that happen for sure. I keep saying that with every guy I talk to, but your stuff sounds pretty damn intriguing, and it can be up there. Right. It'd be up there at a time of year when it's miserable here, and probably pretty nice there. So
yeah, for sure.
We'll have to make it happen, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Right.
Take care.
Right.
Have a good one. All right, guys, that wraps up another episode of Don't Run with Lighthounds. We appreciate y'all listening, and y'all stay in touch. Y'all message, send me some text, whatever you need to do on all my Instagram, Facebook, and all the things, guys. We appreciate y'all listening. Have a good night.